Just like every other 8th grader looking up to their next step of high school, I was filled with excitement. However, the feelings for high school start even before your first day of freshman year. That's why I decided to include images from the summer before freshman year. All the anticipation builds through the summer, and this is where I believe the high school experience truly begins. My freshman year started out with soccer. Tryouts began in the summer, and I was hoping to make the JV team. Only a select few freshmen could make this team. I made some great friends during this time, who have become some of my best friends. Unfortunately, in the middle of the season, I had a concussion during a game. This ruled me out for the majority of the season. Academically, I challenged myself with all honors classes, as well as AP Human Geography. I'm glad I took the risk of honors and AP classes, because it pushed me to work harder. In high school, I just felt more freedom than ever before. During the winter season, I decided to take on swimming. My brother was a swimmer during his time at Andrew, and I decided that I should try to stay in shape. This spurred me to try out water polo like my brother as well. I'd done cross country in middle school, so I was expecting to do track during the spring season. I was persuaded by the upperclassmen on the swim team to try out polo. This would turn out to be a great decision. The group of guys that I met on that team are some of the best people I've ever met. Polo turned out to be so much more fun than I expected. We won a tournament at Andrew and had success throughout the season. Finishing my freshman year, I was excited for what was to come. During the soccer season, I tried out for the varsity squad, but I didn't make it. I was on the JV team, but I had more of a leadership role. Once again, during the swim season, I improved some of my times. I made it to JV conference this year, meaning that this was the first year that I bleached my hair. Meanwhile, during the swim season, I decided to play club soccer. It was a very difficult time since I was basically playing 2 sports at once. I had to learn to manage my time between school and both sports. Many times I had practiced for both sports on the same days. This took lots of energy since I would leave the pool and hit the field. We had another successful polo season as well. This year, I had participated in Relay for Life and learned to come together to help those who can't help themselves. I had my first job during the summer going into this year. I was a lifeguard at the Crystal Tree Country Club pool. This taught me to be responsible as well as wisely saving money. Luckily enough for me, I had taken a lifeguard training class during sophomore year that taught me very valuable life-saving lessons. I learned things like CPR, how to use an AED, and many rescues in the water. Starting off, this was my first year on varsity sports. For the soccer season, this was my very first varsity sport. It felt like such an accomplishment for me. This sport had always been my passion, and being able to play it at the highest level and to represent the school was such an honor. For the winter season, this was my best year for swimming. I got my best time for the 100-yard backstroke. Once again, I bleached my hair. I played club soccer in this winter season, as well as the spring season. With the large workload from school, I found myself staying up late to work on assignments, yet waking up early for our 6 a.m. morning swim practices. It was very draining. In the spring season, this was my first year on varsity polo, which we had a very successful season, making it all the way to the sectional final, only the second time in school history. In my math class, I got a C for first semester. This was the lowest grade I had ever received, and it was a realization that I needed to push myself more academically. One thing that pushed me to do more was an assignment that I had in my English class. It was called the Genius Project. We were to find something new to accomplish, and it didn't even have to be related to school, to work on for the whole semester. Every Friday would be devoted to working on this project. The thing that I chose to do was making music on my computer. Here's a little snippet of it. I would say that this assignment did have an impact on me. It made me have a different view on life. I had been wanting to try to make music for a while, and this project finally gave me an outlet for it. I learned that you shouldn't have to wait for things to happen. You need to make things happen yourself. If you have a dream, then you should go for it. Nothing holds you back but yourself. Seize the day. During the summer coming into senior year, I had broken my wrist skateboarding. I learned that although you may fail and suffer setbacks, you can always recover. Once again, I worked at the Crystal Tree Country Club pool. Since it was my second year, I had better pay and I was more comfortable with my workplace. One way that I could describe this year is the year of what could have happened, at least for sports. My soccer season ended earlier than we'd hoped, following a fairly successful regular season. We had one of the better records in recent years, and looking forward to playoffs. We were the 5th seed in our sectional and hoped to win regionals and sectionals as well. However, our first playoff game didn't go as planned, and a team that we beat during the regular season went all the way and won sectionals. This started the idea of what could have happened if only we had won one more game. Also during this season, we were runners-up in the PepsiCo Showdown tournament. It was a very close game that we definitely could have won, but once again, if we changed one small thing during the game, then the outcome would have been very different. The thought of what could have been during this season still pains me. These are failures that I will remember vividly for a while. During this season, I developed my leadership skills as a senior on varsity. Into the winter season of swim, it was just an average year for me. I hadn't broken my personal best from the year prior, which was a bit underwhelming, and our team placed second in conference for the second year in a row. Again, I played club soccer during the swim season. This year, I was staying up the latest, the most. It was so difficult to balance all my responsibilities, although it kept me busy. Going to bed at a time that I don't want to mention, except that it was in the AM, then waking up at 5:30 a.m. was so tiring. Anyways, I figured it out. Another interesting experience during my senior year was cadaver camp. This was one thing that pushed me to pursue athletic training. Since I was always playing sports, I would find myself going to the athletic trainer if I had an injury. I wanted to help people, and I was fascinated by how the body worked, but I also wanted to stay connected to sports. Athletic training is the perfect combination of all of these aspects. Cadaver camp was an incredible opportunity to expand my knowledge of the human body. I was a bit reluctant to see the cadavers. Once we got into it and more comfortable, it was a blast. A positive that I did have during this school year was a new experience for me. It was my first time participating in variety show. It was one of the best times of my life. I tried out once prior, during freshman year, but I didn't make it. The next 2 years, I didn't really bother trying out because of sports and just lack of interest. Nonetheless, my friends persuaded me into doing it, and I'm so glad that I listened to them. Even though I don't consider myself much of a dancer, this was a blast. Here's a small clip of one of my dances. One thing that Mr. Metz stressed during this time was to take advantage of every opportunity. During our performances, many people stressed how emotional of an experience a V-show can be. I didn't think much of it, as I'm not really an emotional person. However, as our final show approached, I could feel it. We all felt like a family, and we all left it out on the stage. I found myself bawling my eyes out after the last show. Sadly, we were not able to play a single game of water polo. Our whole team was so excited to get back, since we had such high expectations from the previous year. Our projection was to win sectionals and hopefully even win state. From freshman year, our team had developed such a strong relationship in the pool as well as out of the pool. They have basically become family for me. During e-learning, I try to stay on top of my assignments. One thing I've learned from this is that you have to push yourself through any curveball that life can throw at you. Also, during the beginning of the stay-at-home order, me and some friends took advantage of the opportunity and took a job that our friend's dad provided for us. This is us cleaning up some houses under construction. Another positive I've taken from staying at home is that our family was able to adopt our new dog, Maya. After high school, I plan to attend Iowa State University to pursue athletic training. My brother goes there, and we will be able to have one semester together. This 4 years went by so much faster than I ever would have imagined. And one lesson that I've learned throughout all of this and hope to live with for the rest of my life is to never take anything for granted and take advantage of every opportunity that is presented. Looking back at this whole project and the memories I've made at Victor J. Andrew High School is really bittersweet. Nostalgia can feel so good, yet so bad at the same time. All in all, I am so happy with my high school experience, although I had hoped for a better ending.